Midnight Drearies.
Neurodivergent. What does that even mean? It's not a real psychological term. The word was coined back in the 1990s by Judy Singer, an Australian sociologist. Not a doctor, not a psychologist, a fucking sociologist. A pseudoscience known for making up nonsense jargon to support its flawed, illogical, ill-thought-out theories. A field of study for aspiring tiny tyrants whose only goal is to enrich themselves at the expense of others and ultimately to the detriment of all of society. These people have set back actual mental health studies 100 years. And the internet loves them. Everyone on Twitter, or X, or Twix, is competing in the Victim Olympics. Woe is me. Look at me. I have malady XYZ. Tumblr and Reddit pumping out dysphoria and disinformation on a criminal scale, a factory of fictionalization poisoning the human psyche, worse than a million Monsantos. Nick Bort was neurodivergent. On the spectrum they called it. What spectrum exactly they couldn't say. But you can come back again next week and try again. We already have your insurance information. Nick estimated his frequency on the spectrum to be approximately 1.6 times 10 to the negative 35th, give or take a weakly interacting massive particle or two. Actually quite common. Nick measured his IQ in quantum gravitational dark matter distances. Expand your mind indeed. Nick first met Olivia Gordon at StarCon Fight Fest, a gaming convention put on by the Pixel Priests of Starfighters Arcade in Mesa, Arizona. Even at a social gathering full of people with social anxiety, of all the nerds, weirdos, and losers in attendance, Olivia stood out. There was something electromagnetic about her. She caught Nick staring and waved. He was embarrassed and could feel his face flush with blood. Zap zap, she said to him. Seeing his confusion, she explained, it's a salutation, like aloha. She extended her hand in greeting. I'm Olivia, zap zap. He shook her hand and replied, I'm Nick, zap zap. There was an instant connection and their plug-and-play romance began. And boy howdy was she into some weird shit. She introduced him to the concept of the electro-etheric realm and its occult guidebook, or maybe an esoteric user's manual would be a better description of Hackergeist, electronic grimoire of cyber sigils of the Cthulhu mythos. It talked about the Umbrasphere, a separate dimension that consists solely in an energy state with no physical reality as we know it, a type of elemental plane, but it can be connected to via special equipment or innate abilities. Some consider it like a lesser astral plane or spirit world. And it details the things that live there, and how to contact them using mystical sigils like a logographic language, reprogramming reality, something referred to as the Protocol of Cthulhu. Lost gods waiting to be found. Having a background in computer information systems, Nick was able to approach it with his unique understanding of complex systems. It was just another coding challenge. As he began establishing a new operating system using the Hackergeist sigils as a root language, Nick noticed subtle changes in reality. When he closed his eyes to sleep, he was engulfed in digital black, total darkness, yet with an unseen lighting that was everywhere and nowhere. Colors took on an otherworldly hue. Almost everything he made contact with gave off an electrostatic discharge. He delved deeper into the history of ionic algorithms, but discovered very little. Something about Gen X, gen.exe, the number 222, and metaphysical ramblings about life being a logic loop of qubits, quantum information, though normally only interrupted by death, there were other ways to end the order of commands. Existence was an executing file, reality was hackable. Control-Alt-Delete the world. He didn't know why, but all the scuzzy, gooey, gigapig retro-future mumbo-jumbo felt ancient, at least in modern computing terms. Cyberspace streakings across Neo-Tokyo, a dial-up disco from 1984. An abandonware love affair. Nick began cycling through various antiquated operating systems and became continually stuck on Windows XP. A lot of the Gen X references were tied to it. That's when Nick discovered that 222 wasn't a number, it was a date. February 2nd, 2002. That was the founding date for a technology company called Microsoft. Nick shared everything he had found with Olivia, he was gushing. She curbed his enthusiasm to prepare him for a surprise she had. Olivia revealed an antiquated piece of hardware. It's called an Agilia interface, she said. What does it do? Nick asked. It will help you with the next phase of your esoteric machine learning, she said. Trust me. I trust you, he replied. Good. Let's get started. This is going to be messy. Let me get a couple towels. She returned from the hall closet and sat the towels down on the kitchen table. Sit backwards on the chair facing away from me. He did as she commanded. She began taking items out of her bag. What's all that? Nick asked. She replied, it's an installation kit. You're about to get the upgrade of a lifetime. She lathered the back of his neck with a cold smooth cream and rubbed it in. You're going to feel a slight tingling, then nothing. This is topical lidocaine. It causes surface numbness. Some tattoo artists use it to help with clients' more sensitive areas. Are you marking your property? He asked. No. Better. I'm giving you the keys to the universe. She pushed his head and told him to lean forward, then placed a towel across his shoulders. You're going to feel some pressure from the incision, but no pain. Incision? Nick quandered. I never signed up for kitchen surgery. Can I see your credentials, Dr. Hackenstein? I thought you said you trusted me. Do you want to be a digigod or not? She paused for his answer. Okay, he said weakly. It's called Tone Tech. You've heard of the Akashic Records, right? The Book of Life, energy libraries, how the history of the universe is written on the event horizons of black holes in holographic light. Well, this will allow you to access that quantum information. Once you're plugged into the Agilia interface, that is. So it's like a spirit box? Nick asked. Kind of. But instead of contacting the dead, this one lets you talk to God. Or at least that's what humans call them. It might just be some alien intelligence with a headset playing on his 7-dimensional Xbox. But they usually don't troll you. Usually. He let out a short chuckle. Olivia wiped away the remaining blood and residual anesthetic cream. There, all done, she said. Your MOG bus has arrived. Nick asked. My what? Your MOG bus. You now have an Eldritch USB port in the back of your neck. USB stands for Universal Serial Bus. It allows data exchange and deliver of power between electronic devices. In this case, it is between the Agilia interface and the neuroelectrical field of your brain. Woo-woo Wi-Fi. And it is implanted in the back of your neck between the base of your skull and the top of your spine, which is also where the Ultima Major chakra is located. And this chakra is referred to as the mouth of God. MOG, MOG. Thus, a MOG bus. Beep beep motherfucker, get on the bus. Praise Wesley Willis. In the Schizomessiah's name we pray, and plug and play. Man and machine are now one in you. Meat and metal. Let me be with you, my child. Okay, enough of your circuitous sermon, Nick said. Let's turn this thing on. Olivia plugged the cord from the Agilia interface into Nick's neck port. She was a bit turned on as well. Sci-fi Wi-Fi running down her thighs, star crash grave trash astral brain blast. She flipped the switch on the God box and Nick's reality de-rezzed around him. Then his psyche was shot through a cosmic cannon to somewhere that existed outside of space and time, but still with a window looking in. Have fun with the machine elves, Olivia said, but Nick couldn't hear her. He was in the middle of a DMT DSL data dump. Yog-Sothoth is the logic gate. An hour passed before Nick came back to his senses. He pulled the plug out of his neck and lied down in the fetal position, and all he could do was repeat, "Oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God," over and over and over again. Eventually he sat back up. The only thing he said was, "We need more boxes." And Olivia obliged the 1.21 gigawatt junkie JPEG Jesus and brought him as many God boxes as she could get her hands on to feed his information addiction. He needed more power and the parallel processing wasn't strong enough, so he had Olivia start wiring him up with the Agilia interfaces feeding straight into his other chakras via more Mog buses. Olivia said the Tome tech was adaptive and auto-synced with the boxes as soon as they were plugged in. Nick's brain was the data storage device. He stopped eating. He stopped sleeping. All day every day was spent downloading the secrets of God. Olivia had her own key, though Nick didn't remember giving it to her. The next time she came over she came bearing gifts. Braindow sports drink and a sub from Icehouse. "Eat up," she said. "You're going to need the energy." "What's going on?" he asked. She showed him a jump drive. "Are you ready to find out what Gen X opens?" His eyes lit up. He scarfed down his sub and finished his drink, and talking with his mouth full said, "Let's do this." He rubbed his hands together in anticipation and sang a little Rob Zombie to prepare, dig through the ditches and burn through the witches as Olivia jammed the jump drive in and finished the line, "Slam in the back of my Dragula." And with that he was gone again, lost in Neverland. Olivia took from her bag a custom medical device, a large pair of surgical steel shears commonly referred to as a double-action bone cutter, and proceeded to smoothly slice off Nick's head with a single clip. It dangled from the multiple Agilia interface wires. Olivia pulled the plugs and placed the head in a preservation cylinder filled with some strange fluid. "Download complete," she said as she gathered her instruments, the head cylinder, and walked out the back door. Zap zap burn in electric hell, Judy Singer.